Welcome.
All right, let's go.
Welcome, everyone, to the Big Three. I'm here with our hosts, Chris, Drew, and myself, Noah Laytrick. We're here to discuss our three sports about fantasy football and top picks, MLB highlights today, and all the NBA previews for this next upcoming 2019 season.
All right, we're going to start out with a little baseball recap from the day.
We have 5 games here today so far. Let's start with our first game, Atlanta Braves at the New York Mets. Atlanta Braves won that game 5-4 in the 10th. Markakis' 10-inning home run wins it for the Braves. He's batting .319 this season. Mets 45-64 this season, 22-36 at home. They got to turn it around. Their top pitcher, though, is Jacob deGrom, who has a losing record and probably could be maybe pitcher of the year, and the only pitcher of the year to have a losing record. We go now into Chicago against the Rays. Chicago was able to barely get past them 8-7. Polka homers in 9th while the White Sox sweep Rays 8-7. Star of the game was Garcia. He went 2 for 4, batting .269.
Avi!
Polka and the White Sox had their first sweep of the season, winning 3 games in a row. Cardinals and Pirates. Cardinals beat the Pirates 2-1. Flaherty goes 6 strong innings over Cards win. Their hot hitter, Matt Carpenter, has been batting .282 average. Giants against Diamondbacks. Giants edge past the Diamondbacks 3-2 when Longoria's late homer in 8th leads Giants past Diamondbacks. Longoria went 3 for 4 today with a .262 batting average, hoping to turn it around after that big injury. Athletics, who have really made a big term in the season here against the Tigers. Trevor Cahill 10 strikeouts in 6 innings as streaking A's blink 6-0. Laureano 3-4 today, first game on Friday, and he is 4-12 in the whole season. When we come right back, more NBA previews and football fantasy stuff. We also got some back-to-back World Series champions, Dodgers and Astros. That would be a good one. And the biggest rivalry in sports history, we got the Red Sox and Yankees coming up. This is the Big Three.
We'll be back in a minute.
We're back here live on the Big Three. We got some more updates here. Astros and Dodgers. It was a great game here. Pretty hot in Los Angeles. The 2 World Series champions are back.
It was hot. It was 90 degrees, something like that, as the game started. It did not really get much cooler. Got down to maybe 85, but we started off the Dodgers game literally with a bang. George Springer, first pitch of the ball game, 452 feet center field.
I mean, that's basically all you need to know about their offense today. It was few and far between, but they got off early with the George Springer solo shot. First pitch of the game. I am not joking.
However, the Dodgers, not to be outdone, would indeed come back in the bottom of that first inning, and they'd come back with a Dozier. Brian Dozier, recent deadline acquisition, double to center field. That would score Jock Peterson and Manny Machado, so the Dodgers took a 2-1 lead.
I don't know if you saw that play, but it was kind of interesting. It was almost a diving catch made by Springer, and everybody thought it was. And everybody's hands went up, and then all of a sudden you saw the ball pop out. It was very interesting. 2 runs ended up scoring on that, and that was when the Dodgers took the lead. So
Springer very nearly saved it, but was not quite able to do so. And we move on two innings later, third inning. Machado on base again, and this time Cody Bellinger is going to hit that double, and that scored Machado. So the Dodgers took a 3-1 lead out of the third inning. The only other run in this game would be a fifth inning home run by Tony Kemp, but so the final score would be 3-2.
And in the middle of the game, George Springer came out with an injury on his arm, sliding into second. He went out of the game.
He was tagged on his hand as he
Chris
slid into
Taylor.
second base, and he was immediately removed from the game. X-rays did come out negative, so it's not a broken hand, but we'll see about that one.
most likely sprained or some kind of hand contusion.
But the Astros, they are in a tough spot right now. As you probably know that Correa and Altuve are both already on the 10-day DL. They also lost Lance McCullers, and so now with Springer going out, that's a big loss for them.
We also saw Alex Bregman shake up. We don't know if that's a sign or not.
Well,
but
he got hit by a pitch.
You have your top 4 guys all missing. I mean, look at the A's. They are surging. We talked about them right before the break, but they're on a 6-game win streak, and who knows who they're playing next. But it's probably not. Oh, actually, it's the Dodgers. Never mind. It's the Dodgers. It's a surging team versus a team that just lost a series to a team without their 2 best players. Who knows? The A's might be able to get 2 more games up on the Astros. Maybe close that gap to maybe 1 game. We'll see.
The Astros are going to need to pull it together and get those injuries sorted out if they do want to keep this lead on the Athletics, because the Athletics have been red hot.
Yeah, it's been a really good run for the Athletics here. They really shut out with Trevor Cahill with 10 strikeouts, who is on our leaderboard for fantasy points here, and it's going to be a really great match. I mean, 2 great, amazing teams who have powerful hitters that are going to be facing each other, 2 great offenses, and the pitchers are really shaped up for the Athletics, so we'll see a great series in that one.
Absolutely. We'll talk more about those fantasy leaders later. But next game we've got, it's going to be Angels and it's going to be Indians. This one took place in Cleveland, and we had Jose Ramirez hitting a 3-run home run.
Hey, at
His
least one
33rd
Cleveland team is still good. I mean, we look at the Cavs and the Browns. Those teams will combine for about 5 wins next year, so it's good to see the Indians doing well as the Cleveland representative. So, yeah, you got that big 3-run homer out of
And that home run did tie
Ramirez.
him for the MLB lead in home runs with J.D. Martinez, and that ball traveled 423 feet in the bottom of the first inning, so quite a blast off the bat of Jose Ramirez.
And now the next play that scored a run was a Calhoun triple. He tripled in Briseño in the top of the 5th inning.
And it's been a tough year for Cole Calhoun, but a good day, 2 for 5. So next, we have everyone's favorite baseball player, your boy Shohei Ohtani. He hit single to left, showing the man Calhoun in third.
Then from the bottom of the 6th, it's now a 2-3 game. But Kipnis doubles to center. Geyer scores. Kipnis goes to third on an error by Andrelton Simmons.
He would later reach on an infield single, and that would score Justin Upton, but too little too late in the 9th inning there. The Angels are going to fall to the Cleveland Indians. That's a 4-3 ball game out in Cleveland.
Rookie star Shane Bieber with his 6th win. Brad Hand with his 3rd save. And 3 great catches made by Melky Cabrera today. That was pretty interesting to watch. Next game is the Phillies and Miami Marlins. If you lose to the Marlins, you're trash. The Phillies beat the Marlins. That's all you need to know. Big homer for Cabrera in that one, as Drupal Cabrera hitting one in the bottom of the 8th.
Pat Neshek, the switch pitcher, would come out with the win, and Justin Bour also went yard.
So we'll show you. The scoring started to happen here in the bottom of the 6th, so late in the middle of the game. Herrera an amazing player, all-star, single to left, and Hernandez and Williams scored. Santana the second. It's 2-0 Phillies, and then Franco single to shallow left. Santana scored. Herrera the second. Dietrich homered on to right center, 382 feet, and Galloway scored. So that means it's 3-2 here. Now Bohr homers to center, 414 feet. That's a tie ball game. Now it's up to Cabrera.
So we're going to see the Phillies, we just mentioned, scored 3 in the bottom of the 6th, and then Marlins immediately are going to match it in the top of the 7th. 3-3 ball game heading
By
into
the
the
way,
8th.
Justin Bohr, former home run derby contestant and all-star back in 2017. So it's good to see him putting up some good numbers today.
However, it has been a tough season. He's only batting .225.
And it's amazing. I think one of some great players are like Herrera, who is a great player there in that 6th spot. I also like a great person like Rhys Hawkins, who's been in that home run derby speaking, did an amazing job. I think he's been one of the top players as Herrera for the Philadelphia Phillies this season. That's why they are still in first place.
And then we fast forward to the bottom of the 8th, like we said, as Drupal Cabrera with a 415-foot dinger, scoring Williams for the second time that game. Both times scored on home runs. I don't know what that was about, but
there you have it.
you
5
win the game, you
to
win
3.
the game.
You're going to see, as we mentioned, the Phillies coming out on top in that one. And the next game would be not quite as high scoring. We've got Reds on the road against the Washington Nationals, who have struggled. But today, got a great start from Tanner Roark, who went 7 innings on just 1 run. Only had 2 strikeouts, but he just did it his way today. And
Still got the win-win
He
for
got
him.
the win there. Luis
Weeders.
Castillo got his 9th loss, went 5 1/3, 2 runs.
not bad at all.
Kelvin Herrera's 3rd save since joining the Nationals, so that's nice to see.
You're going to see Matt Wieters went yard, and Bryce Harper also drove in Anthony Rendon later on.
And then the
Adam
Reds.
Eaton, Anthony Rendon was on base.
Oh, my bad.
And then in the top of the 4th, it's a 2-0 ball game here. But when Williams singled to right, Irvin scored, Jennett to 3rd, Suarez to 2nd. But the Washington Nationals were just able to stay that they are racing for that wild card. Washington Nationals, 57 and 54. Let's
Another
head
team that
over.
would like to get the wild card. We've got the Colorado Rockies on the road
Actually,
in a
2 teams
thriller
here.
against the
You
Milwaukee
look
Brewers.
at the Milwaukee Brewers and the Colorado Rockies, 2 teams that are very well in that playoff
I
race, and it will
However,
be nice to see how it goes down to the wire.
Milwaukee will have a better chance to win that division because the NOS has so many strong competitors.
And
But-
it is nice to say that the Brewers and Cubs are racing for that first place in the division and NL Central. So it's going to be really tight. They're about 1/2 games away from the Cubs, so the Cubs better get on that streak. They lost to the Padres in the series, and the Brewers lost this game, luckily enough, to the Rockies. Let's start in the bottom of the 2nd. Shaw homer to right, 423 feet. That's 1-0 Milwaukee.
I don't know if this is a sign about how he's going to be playing the rest of the year. He played extremely well last year, not very well this year. 246 average, but I mean, hey, he got the home run.
I like
And
to
we're going
go.
to see yet another home run. This one would be over in the 5th inning. It's going to be a 3-run jack for All-Star Trevor Story, having an incredible year. That would drive in LeMahieu and Arenado.
So 2 RBIs in that one, and then Story
That
comes
puts
again.
the Colorado Rockies up 3-1, by the way, in
And
the 5th.
Story comes again. He grounds into a fielder's choice to shortstop. LeMahieu scored. Arenado added 2nd. But that's 3 RBIs already for Trevor Story. We head over to the bottom of the 9th. Mike Moustakas, the new player to the team, homers to right, his first as a Milwaukee Brewer, 353 feet. And then later in the bottom of the 9th, Arcia doubled to left and Braun scored, Kratz to 3rd. So it's 4-3.
And then Adam Ottavino, who we've seen a lot of good stuff from this year, throws a wild pitch that scores the catcher Eric Kratz. That's not going to be good for them.
So now it's a tie ball game, 4-4 here. We head to the top of the 11th. Arenado, the MVP third baseman, homers to left, 372 feet. And then the Colorado Rockies edge past the Milwaukee Brewers 5-4. 5-4. Arenado, I've got to say, MVP of the game. Homers in the bottom of the 11th.
And the nail biter on the road. Good victory for Colorado.
It's also a very good start for John Gray. He went 8 innings on 1 run, also struck out 8 there. Only 99 pitches. That's good efficiency. That's what you like to see from a pitcher.
And also,
Absolutely.
we got him as one of our fantasy leaders here. Gray getting 8 strikeouts. It ended in the final of the 11th. So a great win for the Colorado Rockies on road. I mean, they lost 5 games straight before this game happened. So luckily to get a good win against a really good team.
So another close game we're going to have up next is going to be the Royals and the Twins. This one in Minneapolis.
A shout out to Jake Cave. He hit his first career grand slam in this one. And that's about all you need to know. The loss goes to Danny Duffy here as they lose by 1. Jake Cave with a big grand slam in the second. They had 2 more in the fourth. Duda hit a 2-run homer for the Royals in the first. You also see the Royals get a homer from Whit Merrifield that scored.
He had a great
Alcides
day.
Escobar and another hit for Alex Gordon that drove in a run. But it was just too little too late for the Kansas City Royals as they are hard luck losers to the Minnesota Twins.
They are actually always losers. 34-77 on the season. It's been rough to be a Kansas City Royals fan.
I mean,
And then
They
you
lost this one 6-5. On to the next one, though. We've got the Cubs and the San Diego Padres.
I mean, the Cubs, so this really game meant it all. I mean, it was 1-1. Cubs won second game with the help of Jason Hayward's single there that scored in 2 runs and helped them edge past the Padres in that other game. But now we head over to Wrigley once again for the final game. Hoping the Padres can get this one. You know, the Cubs needed to win this game to really get past the Milwaukee Brewers pretty big. So let's head in to the top of the first. Renfroe hit sacrifice fly to right. Margaret scored. It's 1-0 San Diego. In the top of the 7th, Galvis homered to left. 360 feet. That's 2-0. And then Hosmer tripled the deep center. Pearl and Lucchesi scored. It's 4-0.
Wait, Lucchesi's the pitcher. He got on base. I don't know how Lucchesi got on base, but he scores a big run for them there.
And he hitting only 45 average here. Javier Baez, wow. We were just talking about Rhys Hawkins. Now we got another home run derby guy who just homers in the bottom of the third, 435 feet to make it 4-1. Cubs are still down by 3 runs. Reyes homers to center, 477 feet. Now that is a moonshot monster. We got to grab the tape measures out, guys. That was a moonshot by Reyes right there. So then we head over. Almora's been pretty hot here, batting over 300. Singled in the center, La Stella to third. La Stella to third, then La Stella scored. Almora to third on throwing error by fielder Renfroe.
Then you see Baez back at it again. He already has a home run today, and he adds a double to his resume as he scores Almora there in the 5th. Yeah, it's a 1-run game as you head to the 7th, just 5-4, or 2-run game, excuse me. But Almora's single makes it a 1-run game as he scores Zobrist. Happ moves to second, and he later scores on the Rizzo single to left. So Rizzo going oppo there to tie up the game. Top of the 8th inning, you'll see Corey Spangenberg double in Jankowski. Then in the 9th, Hunter Renfroe hits a 2-run dinger that gives them enough runs to get past the Cubs here completely as it makes it 8-5. He hit that ball 409 feet. Jankowski then singles to right to score Ellison Hedges, and Zobrist homered in the bottom of the 9th, 423 feet to make it 10-6.
San Diego wins the series against the Chicago Cubs. Cubs are 64-47, 35-21 at home. Pretty good record at home. Away, let's listen to this. San Diego Padres away are 24-34. It's really tough. They have Chris Bryant out on the DL, so they're gonna have to edge past the next team. The next team they play in the series is the Cubs, hoping to edge past the Brewers here. Brewers are 1.5 game behind.
They've got Kansas City, though, on Monday, so that should be another easier series for the Cubs.
If there's any series you could guarantee a sweep in, it would be a game against somebody in the AL Central. So in that game, you see Stammen get the win, and his 5th win, and Carl Edwards Jr. get his 2nd loss. Now let's move on to our next game of the day and our third last game of the day. It is the Baltimore Orioles and the Texas Rangers, 2 terrible teams.
Somebody had to win.
And it was the Orioles. Spoiler alert, Mark Trumbo happened. So, you
He
see,
had a huge game.
Villar and Trumbo combined to go 6 for 7 with a combined 5 runs, 6 RBIs, and a walk.
And Jonathan Villar has been absolutely raking since he joined the Baltimore Orioles. If you look it up, set your stat books, 471 average. Absolutely incredible.
Now let's
Scott
talk
gets the
about-
win over 2 1/3, while Hutchison picks up the loss over 3 innings, giving up 6 big runs. That's not going to be good for your team. And Givens goes the last 1 1/3, scoreless for his 2nd save of the year. Let's take a look at the runs.
Now let's look. We will not look at the runs because we got to get to more exciting games here. Mark Trumbo. There's 2 things we got to say about the Orioles. Mark Trumbo is on the fantasy list with a lot of points and money there and salary there. We got to also go Baltimore, guys. Let's see how many games they are behind before we go to the Yankees, Red Sox. Guess how many games they're behind. We will tell you the answer when we come back to the Big 3.
And we are back here on the Big 3 show. We've got a couple more baseball games to talk about. We'll do a little fantasy talk, and then we will get right on with our next topic. Take it away, Drew.
Yeah, we'll go down to Seattle here, where they manhandled the Blue Jays 3-6. A 2-run go-ahead dinner for Nelson Cruz, along with 2 home runs for Corey Seager. Kyle Seager, sorry. Zach Duke with the win. Joe Bigiani gets his 6th loss. Not good for him. Diaz picks up his 41st save, which leads the team as the season series is complete, and Toronto won it, actually. Toronto won it 4-3. Now let's go over to Boston for our final game of the night.
This one was absolutely the best game of the night. This was incredible.
And I'll take it away, guys. Let's talk. When you hear about every sport, football, soccer, basketball, baseball, you hear about rivalries. And I think one of the biggest of all time is the Red Sox and Yankees. They've had a ton of brawls, a ton of fights, a ton of everything. It all started with the Babe Ruth trade there in the 1900s. But we'll explain that a little later, then that's another story. But we already have a great game starting here. The MVP sensation, everybody. Mookie Betts, everybody's been talking about him. He is crazy, trending everywhere. Homers to left center.
Hit it out of Fenway.
437 feet. Hit it out of Fenway.
Absolute
Now
bomb.
that was only the first run in the game in the 5th. So we head to the top.
To the 5th inning.
We head to the top of the 7th. Now, this is a little weird here. So it's 1-0 Boston. We head to the top 7. Hicks grounded to fielder's choice to shortstop. Garner and Romine scored on air by shortstop Bogaerts.
Bogaerts completely misplayed the ball. He didn't get in front of the ball. It was some basic little league type of mistake right there. He could have just shuffled his feet. He could have just taken one step and fielded it cleanly, but he tried to reach outside of his body. gets right into center field. You're going to see 2 runs score on that play. 2-1 Yankees at that point.
The
So
Yankees
we go-
then extended their lead where Giancarlo Stanton single scoring Robinson. Hicks moved to second on that one.
Now we had more action in the top of the 7th. This guy's been crazy. Another crazy guy. Torres hit sacrifice fly to center and Hicks scored. We headed to the bottom of the 9th here, guys. It's 4-1. Boston is down. So let's listen here in the bottom of the 9th. Martinez singled to center. Leone and Betts scored. Bradley Jr. second. So it's 4-3 Boston.
And by the way, that was bases loaded for JD Martinez at that point. And
So-
yeah.
We have Bogarts safe, so it's 4-4 now. It's 4-3, excuse me. Bogarts in the bottom of the 9th, safe at first on throwing error by third baseman and Jujar. Bradley Jr. scored. Martinez to second, so it's 4-4 now.
It was
So-
almost as if Andujar wanted to return the favor for Bogarts' error back in the 7th. You saw him just make a complete throwing error where he one-hopped it and it couldn't be picked out by Bird. That's just something you got to work on. That's
So
an
now,
easy mistake.
Let's go back here. I just said it. Yankees, Red Sox, 2 rivalries, and they're going into extra innings. We will remember this game of the season. Benintendi, an amazing hitter, single to center. Renda scored. Betts to second. Red Sox go on to win it 5-4 in the bottom of the 10th. Now we head on to the other action where
That would be the
first-
walk-off winner by Benintendi. But before we move on completely from baseball, let's talk a little fantasy.
Yeah.
And
our number 1 player of the day here, the most fantasy points. We got to give it to Mark Trumbo. Had a home run, a lot of RBIs here, unbelievable. Great job from Mark Trumbo.
he would go 3 for 4. 2 home runs, actually. 5 RBIs.
And 2 runs. We head over on to the other side. John Gray for the Rockies. 8 innings pitched, 4 hits allowed, 8 strikeouts, 1 run given up in that Rockies win. Now we got to head over Athletics. They've been such an interesting team to look at. Trevor Cahill, 6 innings pitched, only 3 hits allowed, 10 strikeouts, no runs.
Great
and a
game for Trevor
shutout.
Cahill.
A shutout for the Athletics over the Tigers and a great win for them. We head over to the White Sox. Abel Garcia went 2 for 4.
And this man, he absolutely dominated the game. 2 for 4. He'd have 2 home runs. Both would be solo home runs, but it's okay because he'd walk again. He'd score there. He also stole a base, and that was against Tampa Bay. They'd take a close win, 8-7. Great game for Avisail Garcia. Then we're going to move on. Jonathan Villar, recently joining the Baltimore Orioles. As we mentioned, he's been red hot since joining the team. 3 for 3 on the ball game. He went yard. It was a solo shot, but he scored 3 times. He also walked and stole a base. So those were our top 5 fantasy players.
Where
Some
did
other
they-
guys that did well:
ask-
Longoria, Almendiz Diaz, Whit Merrifield, Kyle Seager, Jack Flaherty, Joey Wendell, Enciarte, Markakis, Nelson Cruz, Nolan Arenado, just to name a few.
We
There's
could go on
so
for
many
days.
more. I mean, we could go
But
on
those
for
were the
hours
guys
and
with
hours.
the top games
Those are
today.
the top 5.
And-
And they do have Jonathan Villar batting pretty early in that lineup for the Orioles. So, great turnaround. What a game he had. 3 for 3. Now, let's head over to another sport here. We've got the NBA top previews, and we're going to give it to Chris when we come back to the Big 3. Welcome back, everybody. We got a whole different topic here. We just heard about all the highlights in baseball today. Now we're shifting over to NBA, which has had a lot of stuff going on, and we're going to give it to Chris here, who's got all the NBA topics. Take it away.
Sir, we'll talk some basketball now. Let's look. It's no secret what the big story of the summer is in all sports, and especially basketball. LeBron James is now a Laker. So he went from first he was drafted by Cleveland. We know this. He went to Miami and went back to Cleveland. And by the way, during those 8 years in Miami and Cleveland, and his second stint in Cleveland, he would make the finals. 8 straight times. And so after losing for the second time in a row to Golden State Warriors in the finals last year, he packed his bags and moved out to LA. So now we've got LA Braun, and today we've got Jeff Sherman on Twitter at Golf Odds. He tweeted out the Vegas season win total odds for the Westgate Las Vegas Superbook. And no surprise, number 1 in the league is expected to be your Golden State Warriors. Nobody's going to argue with that, I don't think. Number 2 is the Rockets. Here's why the Warriors are going to be better than the Rockets.
This is the Western Conference, by the way.
No, this is overall in the
Number
league.
2 in the league,
And
Celtics.
let me explain here. They do have the Warriors.
Oh boy.
Listen to
Yeah, in
this.
the Western Conference, you've got Warriors and Rockets.
And
Overall, you've got Warriors, Celtics, and then the Rockets.
Now let's explain. Those are the top 3 teams. Warriors have 5 All-Stars on their starting lineup with a powerful point guard, Stephen Curry, great shooter, Klay Thompson, amazing small forward who they got for 2 more years, Kevin Durant, Draymond Green, great playmaker, an A+ on that.
When he's not
And
kicking
then we
people in the
got-
balls. But yeah.
Have Steven Cousins.
Moogie Cousins.
DeMarcus Cousins here. Those are 5 amazing all-star players who are going to be playing on this Golden State Warriors team. So no doubt they got a great chance at winning this.
We don't need to
once again.
tell you any more than that about how great the Warriors are. But we should talk about your Houston Rockets because, as you're going to remember, the Rockets actually had an incredible season last year. They did pick up the 1 seed. And so the Rockets last year, they would go on to end up winning 65 games. And today, the win totals had them sitting at 54.5 as their over-under. So that's a big drop-off, but I don't know if they're going to drop quite that much. But here's why the bookmakers are thinking they're dropping off. Look, they lost 2 players that really helped make them who they were in terms of how good of a team they actually were that year. So let's talk about Lukamba Mute and Trevor Ariza. Neither of those are any all-stars or anything like that, but they were two-way players. And the only reason the Rockets were the top of the league last year is because they were able to be a team that was good on offense and on defense. They were very effective on both ends of the court. And so now when you replace those guys, who, by the way, are the two main guys that they had guard like a Kevin Durant or a LeBron James, they're the 2 main guys you have when you need to guard one of the league's superstars that's a forward, which there are many of. They're both gone now. Lukamba Mute has joined the Clippers, and Trevor Ariza signed a $15 million 1-year deal with the Phoenix Suns. They replaced those 2 with Carmelo Anthony. Now, Carmelo is a scorer. He's going to be better on offense than both of those guys. But Houston has already been an incredible offensive team for years. They've already been good on offense. The only reason last year that they were able to rise to the top of the league is because they were great on offense again, as well as being great on defense. They lost a lot of the defensive prowess that they had last year. They're not going to be quite as good as they were. That's just how it's going to be this year for Houston. Now, you're going to move on to the Celtics. The Celtics last year, I mean, there should be no explanation here. The Celtics last year won 55 games, and their 2 best players were not there for like the last month of a season. Their second best player was injured 4 minutes into the season and never played another game. And they have them winning just 4 more games. It actually could be more than that because I see the Celtics making a big improvement as they add Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward back into their already great lineup with All-Star Al Horford as well as Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Terry Rozier off the bench now, Marcus Smart. You've got a lot of players in that lineup. And Brad Stevens, of course, one of the best coaches in the NBA. I think he's the best. The only other person that's up there at that tier is Greg Popovich. And there you have it. Those are your top 3 teams. Now, the Eastern Conference, it's going to be essentially what the bookmakers thought. The top 8 teams were going to be the same top 8 as last year, except they had some slightly different orders, and they had the Cavaliers missing the playoffs in exchange for the Detroit Pistons. So this is a pretty accurate accurate prediction, in my opinion. Obviously, we talked about the Celtics. The Raptors will be good again as long as Kawhi Leonard plays, which he will. He's going to have to. You're going to have the Sixers, the Pacers, the Bucks, the Wizards, the Heat, and then the Pistons. That rounds out your playoff teams. Now, the Superbook, the Westgate Superbook had Cavaliers finishing 12th in their conference, the Eastern Conference, with 30.5 games as their over-under. That I feel like is a little bit low because let's not forget who Kevin Love was before he joined Cleveland. Kevin Love was such a good player back in Minnesota when he was really on his own team. He didn't have any other superstars like a LeBron or like a Kyrie Irving to take shots away from him. Let's look at his best years in Minnesota. One year, this was 2013-14, he was an all-star. He averaged 26.1 points per game, 12.5 rebounds. And he's going to do that on a field goal percentage of 46%, 38% from 3. You're going to see those are really good numbers. A couple years earlier, he averaged 26 at 13.3. Like, these are great numbers that he's putting up on pretty good efficiency as well. And 2011, when he was just 22 years old, he led the league in rebounds with 15.2 rebounds per game. That year he scored 20.2 points per game. He was efficient again, 47% from the field, 42% from deep as a big man, 6'10". I mean, this man can lead a team in scoring with ease. He's been a great scorer throughout his career. He has fallen off a bit towards the end now because he hasn't been the main focus. He's been a sort of an afterthought in terms of scoring. He's been the third option now. And then the second option last year when he was healthy. So I think if Kevin Love stays healthy, you can see him scoring 23 points per game this year. And he's going to really step up to lead the Cavs in terms of scoring. And I also like Colin Sexton, the rookie. He showed out in Summer League. He's going to be a guy that's going to grind. He's going to play defense. He's going to make plays for other people. He's going to be able to score some. I really like Colin Sexton. He reminds me some of a De'Aaron Fox type of player, but I think that he has a lot of potential to have a great year. Some people even think he's going to be a Rookie of the Year candidate. He's going to be a very good player. He has the leadership and the talent to make it work, especially with a guy like Kevin Love playing with him. And so I think that the Cavs have a little bit lowballed, but I don't know if they'll be quite a playoff team. The Pistons now, when they have a full year with Coach Dwayne Casey, with Blake Griffin and Andre Drummond, are going to look like a lot better team than the Cavaliers were. But the Eastern Conference, the rest of the Eastern Conference, the 9 seed is the Hornets, 10 seed Nets, 11 Magic, 12 Cavs, 13 Knicks, 14 Bulls, and 15 Hawks. Those are the rest of the Eastern Conference teams that didn't make the playoffs. It's not really surprising. There's not really any waves made or anything surprising for me in that Eastern Conference. But now let's talk a little about the Western Conference. By the way, there was a prediction that came out a while ago from ESPN on this year's playoff teams, which made a lot of waves, by the way. This was by Kevin Pelton. He had the Warriors going as the 1 seed, the Jazz as the 2 seed, Rockets 3 seed, Nuggets 4 seed, who missed the playoffs last year, 5 seeded Timberwolves with the 8 seed last year. You're going to have the 6 seeded Thunder, 7 seed Pelicans, and 8 seed Trailblazers. This was a prediction by NBA insider Kevin Pelton.
I gotta say, I like that. The Timberwolves and Nuggets moving up. I think those are 2 teams that could contend this year. Timberwolves are just getting older every year, and that's going to be to their advantage, while the Nuggets added Isaiah Thomas, who might be that piece that they were missing.
Although those teams are going to be better than last year, it's clearly a ridiculous prediction for 2 reasons. one, LeBron James is not there, and two, the Spurs are not there. And let's go back to the win totals published by Westgate. You're going to have the Spurs coming in at the 9 seed, according to this, with 43.5 wins. And let me tell you why that is absolutely ridiculous. Let's start off last year. Last year, you had the Spurs as the 7 seed. They won 47 games. And I don't know if you guys remember. That's 47 games, and they're predicted to win less this year? Okay. Kawhi Leonard, how many games did Kawhi Leonard play last year? He played 9 games? Really? You're telling me that essentially Kawhi Leonard can play 9 games in a season. Their best player played 9 games last year. 9 games, averaged 16 points. He basically did not play at all. The amount he played was absolutely negligible. He did not play any sort of significant amount last year. So you're basically trading away Danny Green, who's a decent player but not any sort of star, in exchange for DeMar DeRozan, and you're going to get worse? That doesn't make any sense. DeMar DeRozan is a top-of-the-line scorer in this league in terms of his point production. It wasn't but a couple of years ago that he averaged like 27 points a game, and he's headed over to a team who had a scorer, but they're going to add another one in DeRozan. Last year, he averaged 23 points a game on 46% from the field. The year before, 27.3 points per game on 47% from the field. He's clearly a scorer. I think with Greg Popovich's coaching, he's going to become better at defense. He's going to become more efficient. He's going to become a better three-point shooter. It can only get better when you're coached by Greg Popovich. Obviously a great coach, one of the best in the league. I don't see why adding DeMar DeRozan could possibly make them worse. They can only get better with adding DeMar DeRozan. I think the Spurs will end up being the 3 seed when it's all said and done. I personally think that it's going to be the Warriors, it's going to be the Rockets, and it's going to be the Spurs, followed by the Lakers at 4. And I think it's ridiculous that anyone would predict the Spurs to miss the playoffs and that anyone would predict the Lakers to miss the playoffs, because when was the last time LeBron James missed the playoffs? Literally, I do not remember. It was before I started watching basketball. LeBron James has been in the last 8 NBA finals. The last time he missed the playoffs, it had to be like 2009 or something like that. Says he's been in the playoffs. No, wait, is this correct? The last time he missed the playoffs was 2005. 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009, 2000. Yep, last time he missed the playoffs was 2005. He's been in the playoffs. He made the playoffs for the first time in 2006. Made the finals in 2007. He took an unfortunate loss to the Spurs. He was swept because his team wasn't very good. And he has literally made the playoffs every year since 2007, and he's been carrying bad teams. This team in LA he has now isn't great, but it is decent. If you look at the scoring that they do have 2 guys that can score just as well as anybody on his team last year that he took to the finals, besides Kevin Love, or 3 guys, sorry. You take Kyle Kuzma, Brandon Ingram, and you take Michael Beasley. All 3 of those guys scored in the mid-teens points per game
JaVale
last year.
And you forgot LeVar Ball.
That is not true. All 3 of those guys, Michael Beasley, Kyle Kuzma, and Brandon Ingram, all scored between like 13 and 17, 18 points per game last year. And playing with LeBron, it's going to be a little different, but I think that LeBron this year is going to allow his teammates to have the ball in their hands more. LeBron's going to play a little bit more off the ball. He's going to allow his teammates to really play their best. And LeBron is obviously the best player on the planet. His teams are not going to miss the playoffs when he's playing at this level. He's probably going to be the MVP. In my opinion, he should have been the MVP this year, dragging that team to the 4 seed and then eventually to the finals. Now, that's not the conversation we're having now. That's a completely different conversation. But LeBron James, obviously the best player in the NBA right now. One of the greatest players of all time, if not the greatest. If anyone can carry a team to the playoffs, it's LeBron. LeBron's going to make the playoffs. The Spurs are going to make the playoffs. That's all there is to it. Besides the obvious omission of the Spurs from the playoffs, it's looking like a pretty decent prediction from the Westgate Superbook. You've got the Timberwolves, Pelicans, Nuggets, and Lakers all fighting for positioning, as well as the Jazz. those teams were all within a few games of each other by the prediction. I think the Lakers will have a solid spot as the 4 seed. But, it's going to be interesting to see with the Blazers. Basically, the Blazers, the Timberwolves, Pelicans, and Nuggets, I think, and the Jazz. I think all those teams are going to be fighting for seeding, and that's going to be another where there's going to be games at the last week of the season that are really going to decide those things.
Okay, we're going to have to take a break in a second, but first, I got a question. Who do you think is more likely to kick somebody else in the balls? Draymond Green or Grayson Allen?
Answer when we come back.
Okay.
And we're back. This is the Big Three. We've got some trivia questions to answer.
We totally forgot about our MLB guys. Baltimore Orioles and the Red Sox. Baltimore, we asked how many games. Baltimore is the worst team in baseball. Red Sox is the best in the AL. We're looking best in baseball actually. Sorry. Boston with a 79 and 34 record. PCT is 609. Their streak, they've won 4 games straight. Beating the Yankees 5-4 today in this one. But let's say the answer, guys, you guys have been looking up and thinking. The answer is 44 games. The Baltimore Orioles
44 and a half.
44 and a half.
On that walk-off tonight, 44 and a half games back for the Orioles. On the best team in baseball, the Boston Red Sox. Crazy
there. If the Orioles won the rest of the games of the season, they wouldn't even still have a shot at the playoffs. Would have a shot at the wild card, but that is not happening. We go to the trivia basketball. What is happening on there? We talked about that Draymond Green, the kicking in the balls thing with that other player. Who was the other player?
Grayson Allen.
Grayson Allen. What is
The correct answer actually is LeVar Ball.
I feel like I'm going to say Grayson Allen on this one. That's my answer.
Okay, but Draymond Green actually kicked someone in the balls.
I feel like Grayson Allen's more likely to actually get upset, though. Like, Draymond...
Oh, you mean literally try and kick him instead of accident? Yeah.
Like,
Draymond
Grayson Allen
kicked him, but it wasn't
just
intentional.
lose himself.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, that's my pick. Let's...
Because Grayson Allen intensely trips people. And after that little segment of trivia, we're going to move on to some more... different sport. Next sport. Let's hand it over to Drew. What's going on in fantasy?
So we are gonna do some fantasy football predictions and takes. We're gonna go through every single position in fantasy football except for the flex because that's just every other position.
Even kickers?
Yes, we will go through kickers. So what we're gonna do is you're gonna choose your best player at that position. Then you're going to choose your sleeper at that position. And third, you will choose the player you think you are most likely to draft at that position. So, we're going to start with quarterbacks. We are going to start with Chris. And they don't know that we were doing this until now. So, they're going to have to speak from the heart here. So,
let's talk quarterbacks. You've got your top dogs. You've got Brady. You got Rodgers. You got Brees, Roethlisberger. Let's say if I have one pick and I can pick any quarterback I want, my first gut is just to go Aaron Rodgers. And here's why. I believe Aaron Rodgers is the most talented quarterback in the NFL. Don't be mad, Brady fans, but I believe Aaron Rodgers, with the way that he's able to extend plays, make incredibly long and accurate throws, use his legs to gain yards, he's just a game changer back there. And so I take Aaron Rodgers if I have a choice of any quarterback.
Aaron Rodgers is number one pick here for fantasy football. The fate of Aaron Rodgers getting his broken collarbone last season, that was a big upset for the Green Bay Packers. They also have some great, strong offense guys. They did lose Jordy Nelson, who went to the Raiders. And they got Devontae Adams, who went pretty high in this fantasy and all these mock drafts that have been happening. I mean, I took a lot of mock drafts. Devontae Adams went pretty high. Could be a great, very, very late first rounder. Or maybe second rounder, maybe, I don't know, beginner.
It does depend on the size of your league.
He's now the number one receiver on one of the more passing-heavy teams in the sport.
The best quarterback, arguably, in the league.
A lot of sports people, like ESPN announcers, take these. I've already taken mine. Number one wide receiver, I got him on the 6th pick, which I was really surprised.
What about your quarterback? You're going with Aaron Rodgers? Is that your pick?
I was going to go with Aaron Rodgers here, but on my real fantasy team, I was able to pick up Drew Brees later. For a backup quarterback, I had Matt Ryan.
That's a good backup to have.
I think it's an amazing backup to have.
What do you think for your quarterback, number one pick?
I'm taking Ben Roethlisberger because we don't know the complete situation of Le'Veon Bell, which means that the passing game is going to be relied on a little more.
That's true. The Steelers at camp right now, they're not practicing a running game probably with as much confidence as they are the passing game because Le'Veon Bell is not there. He's trying to get his contract restructured, and you know he has weapons. He's got Juju, he's got AB. You know they're going to have a passing game. That's true.
And
I like them there. And let's go on to wide receivers.
But the only issue with Ben Roethlisberger is that Le'Veon Bell is a huge part of his passing game, and he always gets injured. So there are definitely some risks there. What's the next position?
Wide receivers.
Wide receiver.
I gotta say,
my
6th pick, first round, was Antonio Brown, number one wide receiver here on this list. Most people, all four people in the first round like to get a good running back, and we will go to running backs later. But I'm pretty interested on Saquon Barkley this season, what he's gonna do. I mean, I was questioning DeAndre Hopkins and Saquon Barkley. Who would you choose over that? Well, here's the thing. You know DeAndre is going to be good this season. But do you know what Saquon Barkley is going to do this season? So I said to everybody, you have to trust Saquon Barkley if you want to get him in the first round. If he does good, I mean, he does have Eli Manning to him. He's got another guy. Eli Manning's got Odell Beckham. So it's going to be pretty easy for him, Well, I wouldn't say easy, but, they do have a lowest offensive line there. But, maybe Saquon Barkley's got the moves to really take it in for this offense. And they're going to be giving him the ball a lot because, Giants are pretty short on wide receivers. Eli Manning's getting pretty old, about to retire in his last few years as a Giant. But, Saquon Barkley has to really turn around for them to make, like, a spot here. Wouldn't say playoffs, but they would be pretty close here with a losing and winning record.
But back to the wide receiver picks. Drew, what is your pick?
I'm going to take Juju Smith-Schuster. And I know
this sounds like a horrible pick.
Yeah, he's not even the best receiver on his team. I know what you're thinking. But because of Le'Veon Bell again, they're going to be passing the ball more. But because
you're telling
they
me
don't have... Hey, listen. Because they don't have Le'Veon Bell, that's going to be double-teaming Antonio Brown every play because you're thinking, they don't have that many other threats.
Well, they do have Antonio Brown, so they could give the ball to him a lot of times.
On the double team, it's going to be a little harder to get it to him. And who's your second receiver? Sitting right there, Juju Smith-Schuster. He had a huge year last year. He's looking for another one.
Okay.
I see him having a great year.
He's a good receiver. But you're telling me you have a pick of any receiver in the NFL. Odell looking for his contract. Julio looking for his contract. Antonio Brown. You're really taking Juju over all of them. Keenan Allen. There's so many top-of-the-line receivers, and you're really taking Juju over all of those guys?
I'm taking the player from the team that I think is going to pass the most. I mean, their team is just going to pass.
I'm on Chris's side with this one. I mean, you can choose all of those wide receivers. I know you got Big Ben, and he's going to be bigger on the passing game here. But you got Antonio Brown, you got Martavius Bryant, and Juju Smith-Schuster. Those are three wide receivers that are going to be on his side. But like you said, Julio Jones, Antonio Brown, Odell, Keenan Allen, Hopkins is a great one. Great pick.
And with Deshaun Watson back, hopefully for a full season,
I know,
going to have
that would be great for the That'd be great. Will Fuller was up there too with the Texans, but out of all of those, you got to choose Juju Smith-Schuster. I kind of want you to be sure on this. How do you explain that? Why do you think? I know you said Big Ben is going to have a bigger year today. This month in football league, but I just want to explain why Juju Smith-Schuster when he got like at least 9 other All-Star picks, wide receivers here.
I feel like every other team that has a great receiver also has a strong running game, and this is the team
but
that
they're going to
I
have
think is-
Le'Veon Bell.
but
Le'Veon Bell's the best running back in the
Le'Veon
NFL.
Bell is not going to be up to pace until about week 4, and so they're going to start settling into being a more passing team. And with an arm like Big Ben, who likes to sling it downfield, I like Juju.
To Antonio Brown. But just saying.
I mean,
I understand. I still don't think Juju's going to be better than any of those top-of-the-line wide receivers. But that's your opinion. You're entitled to your opinion. Let's move on to running backs. Running backs, there's been one consensus top pick this year. His name is Todd Gurley. I haven't done any research, but right now, I'm thinking go with Todd Gurley. He just signed for $60 million. He's enjoying LA. He's got one of the best offenses. And if Drew wants to talk about distractions, they've got weapons on that offense all over the place. They've got Jared Goff, who had a good year last year, very good year. Brandon Cooks off the Patriots. He's going to be a big-time target for Goff. And so I think that Gurley's going to be able to thrive. That Rams offense is going to be unstoppable. That Rams defense also going to be unstoppable unless they somehow don't get Aaron Donald back.
Gurley's my pick too, by the way. Yeah,
I do.
Sure.
I mean, yeah, personally, me too. Todd Gurley. I didn't on my fantasy team. I got Devontae Freeman. But sleepers, any sleepers? I did pick up LaShawn McCoy here, who he was like at least top 3 pick last season, right?
Yeah, he's had.
I mean,
The only
they
issue with
said
McCoy, though,
he's
is he's going to be in some legal trouble.
Yeah,
He's going to be
legal trouble.
He's going to be in a bust here.
We'll see how the
you know,
suspension stuff goes.
Suspension stuff. I also let me explain. I'm not saying this is a great. I think this is a great guy, but I picked up a guy from the Washington Redskins. His name is Chris Thompson. I have him for a backup. I think that's an amazing pick for a backup. I had Devontae Freeman and LaShawn McCoy starting, but Chris Thompson is going to be starting Washington. They're probably going to give the ball to him a lot. Redskins are trying to look for wide receivers here, but I'm thinking that they probably could give it to Chris Thompson, so he'll be an amazing running back and maybe.
So nice sleeper pick, maybe a flex spot in your lineup.
I'm still going to go with Todd Gurley here. I think David Johnson can do something. I want to see. I had him last year, but he got injured. I still won in fantasy last year with Alvin Kamara coming in. I was really excited about that. I'm really excited about my 2 probably excited things is probably David Johnson, Todd Gurley, Saquon Barkley, and Alvin Kamara. Kamara has, Antonio Brown, you never know. He could have a bad season, turn out bad. But, you just got to trust. I did trust Antonio Brown, so I chose him. So, that was running backs. We all go with Gurley?
Yeah.
I'm going with Gurley. He's 2 pick. Le'Veon Bell, number 1. I still got Gurley on my list. We are going to tight ends. This part is really interesting.
Let's try to
number
pick
1,
up the speed a little bit here.
Gronkowski here. At number 2, Travis Kelce. 3, Zach Ertz. I picked up Greg Olsen here, but what do you think is a great pick here, Anthony?
I think that the Patriots they lost Brandon Cooks. They have a few less offensive weapons. Who's the guy you throw it up to when you need a play? You throw it up to Rob Gronkowski.
Until he gets his
back broken. Okay.
And yearly back break, which is why I'm going with Travis Kelce. Because another team that doesn't really have
a quarterback.
Very many. Yeah, doesn't have a quarterback. But then tight ends become that reliable guy you can throw it up to when you're a young quarterback.
But you can't throw it up when you're a young quarterback.
You're not throwing it to Tyreek Hill. You're throwing it to the tight end.
But you're throwing it to a tight end on a 7-yard slant route.
Like
That's the thing.
I also think so you agree with Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
I think, Gronkowski, tight ends are the number 1 team. number 1 position that most people get hurt. They're the big guys, and then these small guys can come in and do a little thing to them that can really mean a big thing, like concussions, like Gronkowski did. But that big overall trade by Alex Smith. They're gonna have a rookie quarterback throwing
Patrick
to him.
Mahomes.
Second-year quarterback, but
Well,
he's
he
never
hasn't played.
stepped
He's
up.
got a huge arm, but he's probably going to be extremely unpolished, and it's going to be a rough first 6 weeks at least.
He'll probably turn around and start throwing the ball a lot to Travis Kelce. He could. Tyreek Hill went pretty high. He could turn around. And he can make an amazing.
Tyreek Hill also running the ball, though, returns and all that stuff.
Okay, so
However, next up we have
let's go to kickers. We'll make this quick. I got Graham Gano. Graham Gano, I've had it all 3 years. He's been reliable all 3 years.
Give me Justin Tucker. He can kick it from 65 yards away. Go for it, Justin Tucker.
I think kickers. Some people don't even pick up kickers up. Yeah.
Just start Gronk as your kicker.
Gostkowski are
Fair
probably fair enough.
Gostkowski's going to get some field goals, and the Patriots.
We're not going to
usually
do
game has
sleepers
all of that.
or
My
people
sleeper kicker.
realistics. But
Sleeper kicker is
I'm also
Zlatan
gonna
Ibrahimovic.
bring up Will Lutz. He was a good player last year.
Oh, I had him.
And then let's go to
Defense!
defense.
My pick, Jacksonville Jaguars, Jalen Ramsey, period. What else? Let's go. Next.
I was able to pick up Houston Texans D. They got J.J. Watt. I think they got a pretty strong defense. They could do something good this year.
My other pick, by the way, L.A. Rams. You know it. Aaron Donald, hopefully, for them at least. Ndamukong Suh. So much pressure on the QB. Also, don't forget, Marcus Peters and Aqib Talib. Wait a minute. I might have to switch my pick. L.A. Rams. And then Jaguars are my second pick.
LA Rams, they got a great thing. Aaron Donald signed contract for 2 more years. Is that right?
I don't think he's signed yet, but he's
probably
trying to
going to
work
sign.
out a huge deal.
I think he's trying to work out a huge deal. I think probably. I'm sticking with the Rams. I think the Rams. I never thought really of them. I mostly thought of the Jaguars and all those teams, others. But that's a amazing thought I had with Aqib Talib and Aaron Donald. I love Aaron Donald. I think he's an amazing defensive player for the Rams. So. You never know. He's probably going to be one of the best defensive players here in the whole entire league. And my pick I think I do like the Jaguars at first. I will have the Rams at second, though, and I love that. Love that thing by there. That's my defense.
I'm going to take the Steelers at 1, Rams at 2. I'm taking the Steelers.
Why are you such a big Steelers fan?
Because they play the Browns 2 games a year. They play the Bengals 2 games a year, and they play the Ravens 2 games a year. I'll pay any one of those teams $100 million if they score 10 points. No, I won't. I don't have that kind of money. That's not the point. My point is that these teams are going to struggle on offense.
That division's trash.
Against them. But that's just my thinking that I don't know
do
if
they
they're
have
going to be
any?
able to...
They lost Ryan Shazier, and their defense gave up 28 points a game since they lost him last year. After they lost him.
I know.
So that is going to be
quite
an issue in every other game that they play.
And then I like the Rams. The only problem with the Rams is everybody else likes the Rams. So.
But isn't this a hypothetical? You can pick any team or any pick from.
If I'm making an all-star team, I'll probably take the Rams. And
just
because
there's so much stock power.
But I like the Steelers, so. Let's go to our realistic quarterbacks. So
I did pick
not
up
necessarily the best guy, but the guy we might draft.
I did pick up Matt Ryan for a backup, and I think
it
that
depends on your draft position.
Other people in the draft could take. You don't take the quarterback way too early. You probably take him a teeny bit late.
Third round probably.
Third round,
you want to get a wide
fourth.
receiver and running back first.
Yeah, so Drew Brees I got, and then Matt Ryan as my backup. I think about the backups. They have so much pure talent back in the old days. There's a lot of good guys that are probably going to shape up. Jared Goff, surprised he went low after that amazing season he and Todd Gurley shaped up. Wow, absolutely unbelievable. I do think the Rams offense is going to be pretty good with that new Brandon Cooks, nice and fresh, and then they got just an amazing Todd Gurley running gainer who's going to get a lot of running things in. My thing is for the Rams, you give Gurley the ball, he runs it up, gets it to the 20, and then Jared Goff can just throw it to a tight end or a receiver who's going to get them at least on the board quickly and going like that. Or, the other way around, Todd Gurley can just score himself in there, get a touchdown. So I think Jared Goff could be a good backup unless you take him super late. Phillip Rivers to turn around. They thought Keenan Allen. A lot of other guys who can turn around. So that's my pick. I think Russell Wilson would be a nice pick.
Okay, so I'm going to go with Matthew Stafford because his team has to pass the ball.
They're trash at running. That's true.
They don't know how to run. They have to pass the ball. That's literally the thinking. I'll take any quarterback that has to pass the ball as much as Matt Stafford will this year, because you're just going to get so many plays. It's going to get so many yards, so many touchdowns. The points are going to stack up.
Now I got to ask you, 2 interesting ones for this year. Derek Carr, Jimmy Garoppolo, the Bay Area boys. You got Derek Carr coming off of a very disappointing year, but with now Coach Gruden in there, hopefully he can fix up that offense. Amari Cooper maybe cannot drop as many footballs. And then we've got Jimmy Garoppolo, who came off an incredibly not disappointing season where he went off at the end of that year and ended up beating some great teams. I think the Jaguars, we beat the Jaguars 44-33, and then they were also able to take down the Rams. That team looked really good at the end of the year. What do you think about those 2 guys? How could they
I think
play?
they're both going to have better years than they had last year.
Even Jimmy Garoppolo, in that small sample size, he's going to be able to project that out over a full season?
I don't think he's going to be able to project that, but I think the season as a whole, it's not going to be as good, but it's going to be a step in the right direction. So what we've seen from Garoppolo as a Patriot, it's going to be better than the Patriot Garoppolo. We're going to see him finally come out for a full season. His team is only going forward. He's only going to get more weapons around him.
I'm saying take Jimmy Garoppolo as a really good backup.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I trust Derek Carr.
Carr got Jordy Nelson.
That is true. Jordy Nelson. Never mind. I do trust Derek Carr. I forgot about that. Derek Carr, I would say, is one of my realistic starter picks. Another one, I do like Drew Brees, although he has a really good running game. And then I agree on Jared Goff because a lot of those passes that he makes will be off passes from Jared Goff. So I think that's going to be a good pick. Roethlisberger, same way. Even when Bell comes back, it's going to be passes to Bell, passes to Brown, passes to Smith-Schuster. And yeah, you've got a lot of weapons for those guys, and they could have great years.
Now we're going to go to wide receiver. I'll just make it simple for me. I picked Schuster as my best receiver. He's also my sleeper and my realistic draft pick because I don't feel like anybody else is going to knock him as high as I will.
So I got a question for you, Drew. Let's say you get 3rd pick. Who would you choose running back?
Any players available. I mean, obviously, one is going to be Gurley, so Gurley's going to be not available.
And then Le'Veon Bell will probably go. So maybe David Johnson or someone like that. Or something.
You see, I would have to.
Mine's Saquon Barkley, by the way. I think he's going to have a great year. He's going to be the focal point of that offense besides Odell.
Kamara, Saquon, and Christian McCaffrey's another guy.
I mean, you can
Christian
probably,
McCaffrey, all-purpose back. He's going to have
the
touches out the slot. He's going to have touches out of the backfield, screen passes, all sorts of things. Get him the ball in open space, and he's going to do big things for you.
You know, and also one quick thing, he's got I was thinking go back to the running backs. I did pick up LeSean McCoy. He catches the ball a lot, so does Chris Thompson. So back to 2 running backs. There's a lot of running backs that can catch some passes out there if you are a running back and you're trying to get all those people on board. So we do have a lot of running backs that can catch some passes like Gurley and then Chris Thompson and guys like LeSean McCoy can do great.
Le'Veon Bell's the same way.
So then you could probably get, I don't know, maybe you could get Doug Baldwin or someone like that after you get Saquon Barkley. But would you choose that or Smith-Schuster?
It depends on the pick, I had to be honest. If it's early first round, I'm probably looking at a premier receiver, not Smith-Schuster.
No one else picking him that high. You
don't running back. Because part of the game is when are other people going to draft him?
Yeah, that's why
you want him to be a steal. If you're getting this guy who everybody else wants in the 4th round, in the 1st round, even if you think he's a first-round quality,
get him in the 3rd round because then you can get 2 other players that are also good.
Yeah.
In the first 2 rounds.
All right. Well, that really concludes everything. We had an amazing baseball squad, amazing basketball talk. Then we got
some fantasy football in.
Drew, yeah, a lot of football talk on fantasy. You know, football is coming soon. Baseball.
We've got games this week, actually.
There's football on Thursday, I want to say. That's gonna
Yeah,
be
there
fun.
is.
We do have some really good chase here in the pennants for AL and NL. It's looking really good here with the top team in
Both
the
of
AL
those West
and
divisions
in
are
the
going to be fun.
MLB baseball. Yep, that's going to be Red Sox,
And
best team in the
wild
MLB.
cards.
What about best team in the NL? Who's got that going?
There's not really one team that's really emerging a lot right now.
Except for the Red Sox.
Well, that's the AL. Yeah, AL's got the Yankees, Red Sox that are playing great, and then the Astros.
The two teams I like in the NL are the Brewers. Sorry, Cubs fan. But the Brewers, I really liked what they did at the deadline. I feel like they made
I
a
agree
bigger
with that.
effort than anybody else to go out and get people that are going to ultimately help them build here down the stretch. And I thought that was great for them. And another team that I like, actually, was the Atlanta Braves. And I'm a huge Braves fan, so I'm probably a little biased to say that. But Freddie Freeman's got to be MVP candidate. And you look around at some of the other guys who are playing well, and you just think, wow, how is this team not going to make the playoffs? I mean,
I'm
So,
thinking that
it's
the
looking
up and
good.
down that team.
I'm thinking that the Brewers will.
Acuna, Albies, Freeman, then Fultonevich, Tehran, Sean Newcomb.
I'm thinking that Braves team, they're going to be a talented team. They're going to be in the playoffs this year, but I don't think they've got quite the stuff to go deep really this year. But I'm thinking that's a team 2 years down the road that's going to be absolutely dominating once Albies and Acuna, they're really settled in and they're really hitting like they're gonna improve. Like even though they're already great players, obviously Albies all-star this year. Like they're gonna get better. The
So,
pitching's gonna get better. They're gonna be a really good team in a couple years.
I mean, let's also go back to it. We think, if we talk about NBA, some good teams, probably Celtics, Warriors, and Rockets. I mean, Warriors have 5 All-Stars on their team, starting lineup, so it's going to look really good. That really wraps it up, and a great talk here. We have Drew and Chris and myself, Noah Laychuk here, as we are done with the Big Three. Thank you all.
wait.
Have a good night.
Before you go, tomorrow will be the fantasy draft, so make sure to tune in for that. It will be a fun one. Chris and I will be having a team. Noah will probably help us with the draft. It will be very fun. It's the first time we ever get to have a team in this league. So
see if we can
And
get
watch
Juju
out.
Smith-Schuster in the first
make
round.
sure to tune in tomorrow. Maybe we'll pick Juju. Who knows?
We'll be
And
back soon.
hopefully on our next episode, whenever that is, we can talk more sports. That's going to be great.
And,
See you later.
we
This
do
has
have
been-
more broadcasts. We do have more broadcasts coming up. I mean, us three could be announcing the NBA Finals, any game you want, and World Series and Super Bowl. So tell us which one you would want. We hope you've had a really long night here, so you guys, everyone, audiences should get some sleep. We've got some big sports days tomorrow with MLB baseball coming up. More talks about NBA and fantasy. That is the Big Three. We thank you all for tuning in. See y'all.